Major funding for this program provided by the Moving Image Trust Fund. Additional funding for this program provided by the Arkansas Agriculture Department.
Hello, I'm Tony Brooks, and this is Agri Arkansas. Arkansas is the nation's leading producer of rice. Numbers from June of this year estimate a 46% increase in the number of Arkansas acres planted with this grain. That comes to about 1.5 million acres total for 2014.
Rice today, but puddings, plastics, and concrete tomorrow. And rice makes good glue, excellent cosmetics, swell horse collars, and some folks even eat the stuff.
Rice farming began in the Delta area of Arkansas around the turn of the century. It had been raised in Louisiana and Texas prior to coming to Arkansas, and people who had been to visit in those areas or came from those areas realized that the soil here was good for rice farming. It started with W.H. Fuller.
Well, Mr. Fuller had come back from a trip to Louisiana where he had seen rice being grown and really thriving in areas that he thought were very similar to his own farm. So he began dabbling with rice, and he was irrigating with a windmill, and people around him were watching this. And in 1927, we read that they didn't feel that he was quite well balanced, and a group of citizens from Carlisle, Arkansas and Hazen, Arkansas gathered together the sum of $1,000, and they told Mr. Fuller that they did not believe that he would in any way come close to producing more than 35 bushels an acre on a 70-acre field of rice. And Mr. Fuller did not hesitate to tell them that he could indeed produce more than 35 bushels an acre, and he ended up producing 75 bushels an acre.
Rice needs a lot of water. Arkansas has little rainfall. The same engine that helps to thrash rice helps to grow rice. Water is pumped from rivers, from canals, from deep wells at the rate of 96,000 gallons an hour. A centuries-old oriental underwater grain raised in the hot state of Arkansas.
Arkansas is the largest rice-producing state in the United States, which amounts to about 1.5 million acres spread across mostly eastern Arkansas, but some in southwest and along the Arkansas River Valley. So it is an extremely important economic crop to the state. Of all the rice that we produce, we're a minor player worldwide, but we're one of the largest exporters in the world, in the top 5 exporting countries. So it is an extremely valuable crop economically to our growers and to the infrastructure industry that accompanies that growing that commodity.
One reason rice was grown on the Grand Prairie here is because it's basically fairly level, and it was real conducive to rice. So what we do is we start in the spring, and sometimes in the fall, if you have a nice fall, we'll do a little preparation for the next spring in the fall, and we'll work the fields up and get them clean and put a land leveler on them to smooth them out. Once that's done, I put that fertilizer, and then you actually plant the seed and pull your levees in it, or if you have levees, so you can irrigate it later. And as the rice germinates and come up, then you have to start kind of fighting Mother Nature, because the weeds. And when it gets up about, say, 8-9 inches tall, then we will put a flood on it until the rice actually then heads out and starts maturing, and the grain fills out. And once that's done, we take the water off the fields, let them dry. As the grain dries down to a good moisture, we'd like to have it below 18%. Then it's taken from the combine, we put it on what we call a grain cart, goes to a truck takes it to the mill.
Rice is a superfood. 2/3 of the Earth's population depend on rice as their food staple. The United States is in the 5 top exporting countries in the world. And to put things in perspective, Arkansas produces 48% of the entire U.S. rice crop.
The current state of the Arkansas rice economy is one of growth, in particular this year. We've seen a significant expansion in the production, in the commitment of area planted rice this year, from 1 million acres last year to 1.5 million acres this year. What this means is that we're going to have a more significant economic impact for the state. Right now, this crop could be valued at the farm level of about $1.6 billion. And then it has some induced and indirect value added associated with it, which gets the value of this crop up to close to $2.5 billion.
Not only does Arkansas lead the nation in rice production, we're also a leader in rice research. We have 2 outstanding facilities here in Stuttgart. One is the Dale Bumpers National Rice Research Station. The other is University of Arkansas Rice Research and Extension Center. They both are working and leading the nation in developing new rice varieties that use less water and are disease resistant.
At the Dale Bumpers National Rice Research Center, we're focused on exploring and utilizing the genetic diversity that exists in the rice species. Most people don't realize that we have in this country close to 20,000 different rice varieties that have come here from all over the world, and we're interested in looking through that material and identifying genes that would be important for sustaining rice production in the United States. The research that we conduct here at the center is the main focus of it is to do whatever we need to do to help sustain the U.S. rice industry, and that includes both the farmers and the millers, processors, and ultimately the consumers. And so we have research that's being conducted in a number of areas. One that would be working on competition with weeds in the field. We have a scientist that's working on disease resistance. We have a number of scientists that are working on how to improve the yield potential of rice, and additional scientists that are working on the milling, processing, and nutritional quality of rice.
The University of Arkansas has one central theme, and that is improving yields. Well, the most effective way to improve yields is to create better varieties. We do that by we've got 3 breeders on staff, and their primary focus is to develop varieties that have higher yields, that have higher disease resistance, and then have optimum or better quality than what's currently available.
If you eat rice anywhere in the country, again, with Arkansas providing 48% of the entire nation's rice crop, whether you eat rice in a restaurant in Boston to San Diego, there's a good chance that the rice that is served on the plate comes from Arkansas. Rice in Arkansas is definitely an industry in which Arkansas is a national dominant player and has global importance.
I've been very fortunate by being a farmer, in particular a rice farmer. Most people ask me, when are you going to quit? When are you going to retire? And so I'm 73 years old, and so it would be an obvious thing to do. But I always tell them, well, I thought you had to have a job before you could retire. And I've never had a job. I get up in the mornings, I don't go to work. I get up in the mornings, I go to the farm. And it's a joy to be out here, and I just enjoy doing it. It's a challenge, and every year is different. Everybody says, boy, we need a normal year, and don't know what that is.
We'll talk more about Arkansas's role in rice production a bit later when Ben Noble, Executive Director of the Arkansas Rice Federation, joins us. As we just saw, it takes a lot of water to grow rice. Arkansas farmers have traditionally used groundwater, water located in aquifers under the ground, to supply most of the water for crop irrigation. But those sources are being depleted. Let's take a closer look now at water in Arkansas.
Water is very essential for the South. We can't make a crop down here in hardly any years without some irrigation. Without it, our yields would probably be cut in half.
Water is really the lifeblood of Arkansas, and we've got a serious groundwater depletion problem where we're pumping water faster than nature is recharging the aquifer. And Arkansas, in fact, is the fourth leading state in the nation in terms of the amount of groundwater that we pump for irrigation.
We're using too much water, and we have been using too much water. That's why the aquifers haven't been able to replenish. This is just one source of water stress on the aquifers.
Well, my agency was charged by the General Assembly going back to 1969 to develop the Arkansas Water Plan. The Commission published the water plan in '75, and then the current plan was completed in about 1990, so it's 20 plus years old. A state water plan essentially is taking a look at how much water is available, both surface and groundwater, and quantifying that with a number. Looking at how much water is currently being used and projecting to 2050 what it takes to meet all of the water needs. And then you look at what you've got in the bank, so to speak, what you project your need, and you identify the gaps. And so we've identified essentially the big gap is the need to switch about 8 million acre feet of groundwater use to surface water. The state has been working with the Army Corps of Engineers, USDA, and two irrigation districts. The two projects are the Grand Prairie Irrigation District project, and the other one is the Biomeda Irrigation District project.
The primary goal that we've got on both of these projects is to convert from the groundwater that we're using today to primarily surface water. That surface water from these projects will meet about half of the needs out of the river. The remaining half, we're looking at a good portion of that with the on-farm capture. So the bottom line is we're trying to convert from about 80% groundwater, 20% surface water today to about 20% groundwater and 80% surface water when these projects are completed.
Another key, in addition to developing surface water, is trying to improve the efficiency with which farmers are using water. And that we think that represents potential 18 to 26% savings in the amount of water that's got to be pumped if we can improve the efficiency with which they're using water.
15 years ago, 3 civil engineers developed a software program that they named Faucet. And actually it was financial algorithms of friction loss of water through pipe. And based on if you have the grade of the pipe and punch different size holes based on the flow of the water, it would irrigate your field evenly. It's much more efficient and will conservatively reduce the amount of water that you put on a field by 25% and reduce the amount of water you pump out of the aquifer significantly.
We know that we have finite amount of fresh water, and more often we're having to use it, we're divert natural sources from streams, rivers, and groundwater for irrigation, which not only means that we have less in our streams and rivers and groundwater, but it also changes the quality of that water. So what we need to understand more fully is how increasing human consumption of water and taking it, for example, from rivers and streams, how changes in water flow is going to affect both the water quality and it's going to affect the habitat for the fish and the invertebrates that live there. So we have to have more research conducted on how changing water levels are going to affect the existing biological communities. So there's a strong need and a recommendation in the state water plan to make sure that the research and restoration activities that are necessary to protect the water quality and quantity is there.
I don't know that we're facing a crisis today, but as we get more people on this old earth and we have to produce more food, we need to stretch everything we have. And I'm going to get into my family. I got a grandson that's going to be 4. I hope that one of these days he can utilize some of these same techniques or something better to make a crop on this farm.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily characterize it as a crisis right at this moment, but I can see it from here. when you consider the fact that we've been trying to get this project here as well as Biomeda completed for the last 20 years, you know, it takes a long time to get everything together. So yes, I think we're moving that direction. We certainly need to be doing something about it now.
So there are challenges ahead when it comes to water issues. Edward Swain with the Arkansas Natural Resources Commission will be with us in a moment to discuss those challenges further. But first, let's travel to an operation on Y Mountain that if you haven't visited in the past, you may want to put it on your to-do list for next summer.
It's very important to support your local farmer because the small farms are dying out. We're non-traditional. That's one of the things that set us apart, and we are very small. Well, every day is a little bit different, but during berry season, our morning starts about 5:30. We get out and get the farm cleaned up and ready to open. I'm Beth Eggers, and for 17 years I have raised flowers here on Y Mountain. Our business is called Y Mountain Flowers and Berries because in 2008 we planted about 6 acres of you-pick berries, blueberries and blackberries and some raspberries.
I did not know y'all opened at 7.
My previous job was in transportation, worked out at Omaha, Nebraska area, and we had the opportunity to move back to Arkansas, and we wanted something to supplement our income at that particular time, and also to help set up some retirement income in the future. So we found this place out here. It turned out to be just the right idea. We've got a total of about 18 acres. Of that, there's about 6 acres in berry production and about 3 acres in cut flowers. We originally wanted to start a dried flower business, and the first year we had them growing, we decided, what are we going to do with some of this stuff we got out here now fresh? So my wife, Beth, took a few buckets full down to the river market in Little Rock, and they sold out. Well, the next week we took a few more buckets and they sold out, and within a month's time our entire business plan changed from a dried flower business to a fresh cut flower business.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
2008 we decided to get into the berries. We did a lot of research on the berries. We knew that the blackberries were going to be really a good seller, and then the blueberries we wanted to have a big number of varieties that we could extend our growing season. This way we can start out in late June or early June and have blueberries up until almost August.
This is great for me because I'm gonna have it this morning with oatmeal. I love blueberries and oatmeal.
And I can wash them and freeze them and put them in smoothies and maybe make a tart or something. It'll be awesome.
I make smoothies every day, and fresh blueberries are so healthy. They're like the super fruit, and these are way cheaper and way better than the grocery stores.
Where do you want me to pick?
Okay, 19 and 20.
When people come out to pick their berries, we greet them and have the buckets with a bag liner ready for them to go out to the berry field. We'll walk them out to where the berries are the ripest and where they're ready to pick them off. We encourage them to taste berries and make sure that they know which are the ripest and the best ones to put in their bucket.
Oh, they're yummy.
Yeah, I usually leave an extra $1 for the ones I eat on the bush or
That's
off
right.
of the bush.
We have some animals around here for the kids to look at. We have goats, we have chickens, we have rabbits. So it's just a good place to come and spend a morning, relax.
How many you got in there?
And this local grown movement that's come about is concentrating on the small grower mostly, and it gives a customer a chance to meet the person who grows their food, to have a personal relationship with that person. They become friends a lot of times. They know the quality that they're getting. They know that it's the freshest that you can get.
It's very important. You should support your local farmers. There's plenty of markets, plenty of farmers that would love to have your business, and developing a relationship with the people that grow your food, it's nothing like it.
Yet another way to interact with your local growers and to get back in touch with where your food and in this case, possibly some of your home decor comes from. Joining us now, we have Ben Noble, who is the Executive Director of the Arkansas Rice Federation, and Edward Swaim, the Water Resources Division Manager with the Arkansas Natural Resources Commission. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for being with us today. Ben, let's start with rice. As we saw in that piece, for a crop that comprises more than 1.5 million acres this year, it's not been grown in Arkansas in the grand scheme of things that long.
You know, it's certainly not at the volume that we're growing it today. As the piece pointed out, there was an attempt. It started here in the turn of the century in the early 1900s, where it got its origins in Arkansas and has grown over time. But we're good at growing rice, and each decade we just did a little bit better. And by 1973, we took over the #1 rice producing state in the nation. There's only 6 in the country, 6 states in the country that grow rice, and Arkansas actually makes up half of that volume. So it took a little while to get off the ground, but we certainly have secured our place as the top rice producer, and I think we're in a great spot to hold on to that.
Quite a bit of growth in a short period of time.
It has been. You know, just looking back, I grew up on a 4th-generation rice farm, and I was in preparation for this segment. I was looking back on some of our just photos of how my grandfather worked on the farm, and then my father and my brother today. And the progress of just agronomic practices and technology has really been unbelievable in agriculture as a whole, but certainly what we've seen in rice has been really, really impressive.
Let's talk about that. When we talk about the cost of production, how does rice compare with other traditional crops that we see in Arkansas, like cotton and soybeans?
Well, the thing that stands out when you talk about comparisons is the cost of production. It is extremely intense when it comes to just the amount of resources it takes to grow a crop of rice on an annual basis, and part of that stems from the fact that it's so water intensive. It's an aquatic crop, so there's a lot of land preparation. There's a lot of work that goes into fighting weeds and fighting disease. So from that standpoint, it's an extremely expensive, and it also takes a lot of water. Another, I guess, thing that I would point out for rice is everyone in the world loves it. We've got plenty of international market opportunities. The United States consumes about 50% of the rice that it grows, and then the other half is exported around the world. So a lot of opportunities.
And of course, rice, as you mentioned, does require a great deal of water, and adds some serious concerns about groundwater depletion. And as we heard in that statement, the soundbite I loved was, it's not a crisis, but I can see it from here. Is it something that's looming that we need to be concerned about?
Well, we do need to be concerned, because we have seen since soon after rice started to be grown in Arkansas that we were able to pull more water from the ground than nature could replace. And we've known that it was going to be a problem since about the 1920s. Over the years, we've watched groundwater decline in some areas like the Grand Prairie, and then areas in northeast Arkansas, on the western side of Crowley's Ridge, and also in southeast Arkansas. So we know we're seeing real problems in the aquifers. These aquifers supply an enormous amount of water and enable us to grow rice, but we need to move to some surface water to mix in with that. As you saw in the segment, we need a larger percentage of our crop irrigation water to come from the surface, so that we'll have 2 good sources of water to continue to grow these rice crops and other crops into the future.
And that's part of our state water plan. How do we get there? How do we achieve the surface water, the ratio that we talked about, going from groundwater to more surface water? How do we achieve that?
First thing is we quantify the amount of water we use and the amount that is available to us from the aquifers and also from surface sources. Then we try to find ways to move that water. It's very expensive, so we're building a couple of large projects now, the White River Irrigation Project, Biomeda Irrigation Project. And you saw part of the White River Project. Dennis Carman, the director of that project, spoke about going to 80% surface water from it. And that's one of the big ways to do it. But other ways are to reduce our need for water through conservation. And if we can squeeze 20% less water out of what we need to withdraw from the ground, then that's a big big chunk of the need that we've wiped out from the groundwater.
When we talk about the on-farm capture, how does that compare with the cost of farmers that are utilizing the traditional methods of pumping water from the aquifers? Is it about the same, cheaper?
Well, economics drive usually the decisions to build on-farm conservation projects. When you have groundwater close to the surface, it's pretty cheap to pump. And farmers, especially in those areas with groundwater decline, see the expense go up from fuel cost or electricity cost for pumping, and they see the advantage to build tailwater recovery or reservoirs or other systems on farm. And there are also some financial incentives and tax incentives to do that help to make it more economically viable.
Okay, we've got about a minute left. I want to go back to the rice research centers at Stuttgart. I was not aware that there were so many different varieties. Tell me a little bit about the major work that's being done down there at those two centers on rice production.
Well, we talked about the progress that's been made, and that hasn't happened by accident. When you talk about the rice industry and where we are today, there's been a lot of effort put into research to keep us sustainable. How can we increase our yields, fight the diseases that we face? Ed talked about the conservation methods that are in place. That's what's happening at those centers. They're putting those in field plots and trying to determine how to best utilize them across the rest of the production in the state. One thing that came out of it was mentioned in the segment is faucet, and that's a prime example where that was a technology that's been put forth in the research stations, and now out of that has come a private sector initiative to try to work with Ed, and we're setting goals to put software on the farms to help get the water utilization down by 20% by the year 2020.
And these issues are very interrelated. Hopefully we can have you both back sometime to talk more about it.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks for
Tony.
being with us. That's all the time we have for now. Thank you for visiting with us today. We hope you'll join us next time right here on Agri Arkansas. I'm Tony Brooks.
Major funding for this program provided by the Moving Image Trust Fund. Additional funding for this program provided by the Arkansas Agriculture Department.